Hello and welcome back, guys. All right, so if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do that to help the channel grow. Thank you very much. So we have tests here where the student can view and actually type their answer here. Okay, now the thing is we need to be able, there's a few problems we have so far here. So let me try and explain those problems. Then you can decide what kind of solution you want to give to that problem. So problem number one is this. Let's say I write my answers here, and while I'm doing that, the teacher changes the questions. Maybe the teacher is editing the questions. Then that becomes a problem, because then I will put a wrong answer to that question and then I'll be marked wrongly. Or the teacher could change the answers much later after I've already taken the test and even forgot about it. Then they can change things and then it will reflect differently on the results. So there are two ways to solve that problem. Number one, the easiest way is to mark that test as uneditable once just one person starts to answer the test. So for as long as somebody saves some answers into the database, then that test is now uneditable. Okay, so that's one way to do it. The second way is to create a separate table where once somebody clicks, where is that button? Take this test, right? So when somebody clicks take this test, it makes a whole new copy of the whole test onto another table where, regardless what the teacher changes on the other side, we'll have an extra copy of this. The only problem with this is more ideal actually, but the only problem is the issue of space, because now every test will have hundreds and thousands of copies of itself depending on the number of students at that school. So instead of repeating data, usually when you're in a database and you start repeating data, then just know you are doing something wrong. So instead of that, what we will do is we'll go for the other option where we switch the test off and we stop it from being editable. So let's go back to our database here and go to tests themselves. And right at, where is this? Right here in the structure, let's add one more column and let's just click go. So here we're going to put one option that is editable. Okay, so there's editable, which is 1. So I'll leave it, no, let me move it to tiny int, length 1, and then I will put a default value as defined 1, like this. So save. Okay, so editable is 1, and let's add an index to that as well, like so that we can easily use the select key to select only those that are editable or non-editable. So you see it has a default value of 1, which is good, which means it is editable. But then once somebody takes that test, we have to change that to non-editable so that we cannot edit it. So let me come back here, and also we need one more, because now we have a slight problem again. And this problem is that when actually we can use the disabled here. So because of this issue is that the problem is that the teacher will start writing the test and still adding answers to or questions to the test, and somebody could start using it immediately. So that will render the test uneditable, and then that will cause frustration on the teacher's side because he can't edit his ongoing test anymore. So this is where the disabled column will come in. So let's go back to structure. So instead of disabled starting at 0, let's change this to the default value to 1 like this and save. Okay, so this will make the test only visible once disabled is false. So it will start out as disabled is equal to true, and then it will be disabled is equal to false. So now the teacher will be the one to have to change this disabled section to true or false. So before we change this, let's make this editable thing a thing. So let's go back here to take a test, and where is this? So if I go to my tests here and I'll say take this test, this takes me to tech test, right? So let's click there, boom, and we are on tech tests. That is fine. So right here, this is where we need to check to see that this test, once we are here, should no longer be editable. So let me go to now this thing is not something that the teacher should be in control of. Only the disabled part, the teacher can be in control of that, whether to make it visible or not. So for now, let's deal with the editable. So I'm going to go to private controllers, and this one is tech test. And right here, when we read the tech tests, this is the index folder right here. So once we read a test like this, we're supposed to disable it. So right here is row, and we have an if row right here, which means we did find row in this section, and so we may take advantage of that. So right here, I'm just going to say something like I want to just create a query here. So let's go with this query here, and let's say update tests set what is this now, editable is equal to 0, where now we have the entire row of the test here, so we can choose whatever metric we want to use, whatever column we want to use. So I'll just say where ID is equal to, and let's do this, ID, and let's limit it to one record like this. Okay, and then now I can say tests query, and then right here I will put my let me move here, let's put query here, comma, and then of course we need our array to put in the ID, so that is row ID like this, but let's give it a key which is ID, and the arrow like this. Okay, so let's see if just that is enough to get our business done. So you see now editable is 1 on both sides. That's fine. Now once we read this test, let me refresh, and then here we'll get to, let's browse this. Okay, so we see one of them has changed to a 0. So this is working already. Now this becomes uneditable. So now we just need to disable that with the edit process. So when we are editing a test, there's single test. Where is it? There we go. Okay, so single test right here, and let's see here. We need to be able to, where it says edit question here or delete question, we need to be able to skip these parts. So let me come back here first, up here. So this is the edit question function. So where it actually happens is right here. Where is this? Post after the validation. Now what I'm looking for is the row. So there is the row right here. So let me copy that. Now I don't even want it to go in here and do anything if it's not editable. So what do we do here? We have to put all this in an if statement of some kind. Let's see here, errors. Okay, so we can put errors here as well, so that's fine. So what we will do is this. I'm just going to put something right here. Request, where is this? Validate, so this data is validated and it goes to that. Okay, so what I will do is, let me put this here and say something like if, let's put an if statement. So we're going to say if row, because that's the test itself, if row editable, okay, or if it is not editable, so exclamation point like this. So inside here, the not editable, we can add an error so that we tell the user something. That way they know they're not just dreaming or something. There is really an error. So let me do this and say is equal to, errors is equal to, this test is not editable, like this. Or you can say something like editing for this test has been disabled. Okay, something like this. Maybe we just put is disabled to reduce the words. Okay, cool. And then here we want to go to validate. Now I have an error here which I can use to not allow it to go through here, even though the saving happens right there, but I don't want all this happening anyway. So what I will do is just come down here and let's say if that is true and errors, let's use count errors here, is equal to 0. Okay, cool. So let's see what happens with that. So it's not editable here, my first test. Let's see. Okay, that's the one with questions. That is good. Now let me log out and log in as somebody with enough credentials, because that was a student. Yeah. So I want to see if I can actually edit a test. So tests, my first test, that's the one, right? Was it? Yes. Okay, so now let me try and edit something. So I've edited, let me just add some gibberish at the end and let's save this. Okay, so apparently it seems it actually worked. Let me refresh it again. No, it didn't work. But it didn't show me the errors, did it now? No. It didn't show me the errors, so what's happening here? Errors is equal to, okay, that should have worked. If not editable, okay, what I'll do is let me just put die over here so that I know if it's passing through that section at all. So save. Okay, so it is passing through there, but why isn't it showing us any errors? That is the problem or the question. So let me just do show errors here. Let's see how that works. Refresh and resend. Okay, editing for this has been disabled. So why am I not seeing an error here? Oh, okay, sorry, my bad. Just a typo here. These are things to look out for. Put S there, errors. So if I now save, okay, and define variable error on 169, let's see here, 169 here, so it's errors. So let's see, do we have errors at the top? Yes, we do. So that's fine. And let's refresh. It should work now. Yes, save. Nothing still. What's going on? So let's come down here and show errors again. Let's see if we will have that in the errors system. Save. Okay, so it's an empty array here, which means things are not going as planned, if not editable. Let's put die here. So when you have an error like this, you have to go step by step from the point where you know things are actually working to where they are not. So here we see that it is going through here, and if right here we say show errors like this, we should get something more tangible. And let's go back. Okay, so we see it is in there, but by the time we get down here, the errors have all gone. So because I guess it's going through here where it's negating everything. Okay, so we need to figure this out as well. So I'm guessing the best thing to do is to move this whole thing right here. Oh, the problem is if I move it from here, then this will work out. They need to go through here. Otherwise, what I want is to not go through in here at all. And let's see here. Okay, so what we can do here, instead of just setting errors to specific thing here, because this is already an array from the top here, because we declared it right at the top, and we know that this is also an array. So instead what I'll say is errors is equal to, let's just say array merge, so that in case there's already information in there, we will not disregard it. So errors like this, and then we merge with that one. So we're just merging two errors together. So let's see that again. Okay, at least finally we have an error that says editing for this test is disabled. Okay, so at least now we have fixed one problem where once somebody has started answering the question, then we cannot edit that question. Okay, disabled. So if we go back, let's see here. Yeah, so it hasn't been edited at all. And refresh. Okay, cool. So one problem sorted. Now the best is just to remove even the edit and delete once we get to a point where it's uneditable. So let's do that in the next video.